Hello everyone. I thought today it might be interesting to take a look at a few different pigeon colours that can often get confused for each other and have a look at the differences between them. Let's start with white, which we already know is a very popular and interesting colour. As you can see, there are quite a lot of different colours that can mimic white. In the middle there is a true recessive white. Then we have an extreme dilute, a grizzle, a recessive opal spread, and we have our stipper. And these aren't even the only colours that can look a bit like a white. So how can we tell the difference between these colours? One of the first things you might notice is the recessive white has dark eyes or bull eyes, whereas the rest of them have coloured eyes. Apart from the eyes, you can see that the white has no pigment in the feathers at all, whereas the other birds all have at least a little bit of pigment. The extreme dilute probably has the least. The recessive opal spread doesn't have much, but the grizzle and the stipper both have quite obvious pigmentation. Now white isn't the only colour that can cause a little bit of confusion. Let's pull out some more birds and have a look at them. Next we can compare brown bar to silver bar or dilute blue bar. Brown bar and dilute blue bar are two colours that can be quite difficult to tell apart when looking at them individually, but when we have them next to each other like this, the differences do become quite clear. And yes, my silver bar hen does only have one eye. She unfortunately flew into a tree when she was a lot younger and lost the use of one of her eyes, but she still has full sight in the other eye. And speaking of eyes, that's actually one of the ways you can tell the difference between a silver bar and a brown bar. Brown bars always have a false pearl eye. Even if genetically they have an orange eye, it will appear like a pearl eye, whereas a silver bar can have an orange eye. One other way they can sometimes be told apart is by looking at the flight feathers. It's a lot more common for brown-based pigeons to have faded flight feathers. And when you open up the wing, you can quite clearly see the fade or sun bleaching, especially if the bird's been out in the sun a lot. Alright, now let's try sooty and checker. So although these two birds do look very similar, only one of them is a checker, and there's this one at the front. The cockbird at the back is actually a blue bar. He has fooled a lot of people though. He does look a lot like a checker, and that's because of a gene called sooty. Birds like this one, who quite heavily express the sooty gene, often show pseudo-checks like this. But although he looks like a checker, he genuinely is a blue bar. So how can we tell the difference between a true checker and a sooty blue bar? The easiest way is to look at the feathers on the windshield. On a genuine checker, the dark pigment is on the outside of the feather, whereas on a sooty bird, the dark pigment is closer to the quill of the feather. At first glance, looking at these two birds, you could quite easily be forgiven for thinking they were both red checkers. But the cockbird in the corner is actually a blue-based bird, is not an ash red at all, whereas the hen at the front here is a genuine red checker. The reason for the cockbird's colour is actually a strange combination of genes. He's a recessive opal, he's heterozygous for recessive red, and he might also carry dirty on a blue T-pattern base, which altogether has produced this pigeon that a lot of people confuse for a red checker. But guys, that's all for today. I hope these few examples have been interesting, and I really do hope it's helped explain a few of the subtle differences between some of our pigeons' colours.